Hi everyone. Today I'm going to talk about the voice overflow management. We are enabling this capability as part of the voice release. Our goal is to allow the admins has the ability to set up an action to transfer a call to external number or send it to voicemail by ending the call as an action or to default behavior when the overflow condition triggers. The overflow condition can be exceeds the number of calls waiting in the queue or the call land outside of operation hours. This helps reduce the customer call wait times. So before I going to go to the demo, let me talk about pretty high level. So the first thing is the user, when they create a queue, they can actually set the condition, which is overflow condition. So as a user, you can say, hey, you know what? If I have X number of calls waiting in the queue, I don't want customer to be put on the queue for longer wait time. So I want the call to be either transferred to an external call, external number, or you can actually end the call. Or there is something called the outside of operation hours, which is the another condition. So what we have is that when you create a queue, as part of the queue, you can set the operation hours. And let's say if you have operation hour, let's say from 2 to 8 o'clock, and if any calls lands outside of this 2 to 8 o'clock, 8 p.m., 2 to 8 p.m., and if there's very specific calls that I want to go to an external number or certain calls that I can end the call because that's not priority. So you have the ability to set in the condition of these two capabilities right now. And the overflow action as part of when you build a work stream, as part of the work stream, so you know the route to queue, which is part of the classification. In the route to queue, you can say if I have X condition. For example, if a call comes specific to a high priority, I want this call to be either answered now, or it can be immediately transferred to an external number where there is a 24/7 agents are available who can take the call. And if there is a low priority call comes in, and if the queue is available, then I want the case to go and put it on the queue so that the agent will answer. If not, I want that to end the call by sending it to the voicemail so that they can send it to the voicemail. And we have this default capability. Default capability is like we follow today what we have it in the chat, which is nothing but if the queue is available, then it'll get assigned. Let's say if the queue is offline, then it actually wait for a certain time. And this can be configured as whether you can do the default or end call or transfer to external number. And how this get benefit? It helps reduces the call wait times, number one. And also at the same time, for high priority calls, you can actually transfer to external number as long as it hits the overflow condition. So I'm going to give a quick demo of how this has been set up. And also I'll do how this whole thing works. So let me go to the demo part here. So if you see over here, as I said, first thing, when you go and like set up a queue, first you have to go over here and let's say I'm just putting a demo voice, and here you have to select the queue type as voice, and you can put like group number one, and then when you create. So let's say when you create, so it is getting created. So you will see over here. So first thing you need to set up the voice. Sorry, first thing you have to do this, you have to add users. So when you click add users, you will see list of users. So you can add the users here. And the next thing is that for this particular scenario, you can do the overflow condition and you have the set operation hours. The set operation hours, the assignment method, the users are like the existing capability. For this particular release, we have enabled something called the voice overflow condition. So when you click voice overflow condition, it says work item limit. So let's say when I put like 10, what is that meant by is if there are 10 calls waiting in the queue, and if the call comes as the 11th call, then it'll trigger the condition. And if you see, the next one is out of operation hours set to off. It is by default set to off. So all you need is like you go over here and you select an operation hour. So let's say I put, for example, 2 p.m. to 6 p.m. When I click save, and you will see here the out of operation hours set on. Let's say you go over here and put as voice work item limit set to 10, and you will see over here. Now you set up the whole overflow condition. So what it means is when there is either the call like more than 10 or waiting here, more than 10, then it'll trigger the condition. Or if it lands hours outside of 2 p.m. to 6 p.m., it'll trigger the condition. So basically, we have the trigger setup in queue. So now let's look at how we can set up the action. So you go to workstream. So here I already set up one for workstream. So if you click the workstream, basically you come and do the workstream part. This is basically the classification. In classification, first I set up the phone number here. So you see over here, this is the phone number I set up. And then in here, this is the classification part. And you can actually have the classification by creating a rule set. And for this scenario, I just created a simple route to queue rule. When you see like a route to queue rule, all I'm saying is that you just go over here and create a rule. In this scenario, all I'm saying is I don't have any condition. Any calls which comes to that number, I'm saying like it can go to a priority queue, which for example, I set up here. This is the priority queue I set up for the demo purposes. So if you see over here, I put a similar limit of work item limit is 10 and the out of operation hours is on. And this one I already created. This is like 1 p.m. to 3 p.m. PST. So I set the condition here. Now I'm going to show the action. In action, all I'm saying is when a call comes to that number, without any condition, it transfers to external number. So you'll see over here the external numbers. This is my number. So let me already have it. So I'm going to do a simple scenario here. So let me start my video so that you will see this demo process. So I'm going to take a phone here and you'll see the 1-833-231. So I'm going to call this number 1-833-231-6135. So I'm going to call this number. So you see the other number. We'll see the number here. So the one that I just called. Hello? Hello? Cool. So this is the scenario. Basically, what happens is that I called this 1-833-231-6135. It actually, based on this condition, it looked at the action. The action has transferred to external number. And since the condition, as I said, as like 1 p.m. to 3 p.m., it actually hit the overflow condition. It actually transfers to this number. This is the scenario one. And here you can have, like, as I said, multiple. So when I select like an end call, and now when I click save and close, and when I call this number, it'll basically end the call and send it to the voicemail so that the customer can actually do things. And let's say when I put like default here, and then when I save it, even though the workflow condition met here, so this condition met here, and it'll wait for the queue like 1 p.m. to 3 p.m. based on the operation hours. It'll say, hey, if it is like longer, so it'll actually put it in the queue and say that the next available operation hours is at like 1 p.m. So based on how we configured in the voice, it'll actually does either they can end the call or it can actually wait for the next available queue. So This actually helps. This particular scenario helps that user can create any condition and say if this comes from this particular number based on this condition, like let's say priority 1, you can actually transfer to this external number, or you can end the call, or you can do the default action. So this concludes the demo of how an admin can set up the overflow management, especially when there is a longer wait time. And here you can put as condition as it can be 10 or it can be 100 or it can be 1. So he can put anything over here. And also you set up the operation hour. So if you remove the operation hour, so it means it is a 24/7 available. And if it hits the work item limit, then it will transfer. So if you don't set up the overflow condition, then it will actually see the action over here, and it will go as look at the overflow condition. And if there is like no condition set up, so then it actually works. It doesn't hit the overflow action because the overflow condition doesn't match. So it don't hit the action. It'll go like a default how that we can do. It'll wait in the queue, and the next available agent will take the call.